So today when we were greeting everybody and David came in, see, I heard a yes. David came in, I thought to myself, well, do you ever get that feeling when you meet somebody and you're like, wow, I'm just so connected to this person, great person, really great energy, and you're thinking, I could talk to this person for hours and hours and hours. And this morning when I met David Brooke, I felt that way. So I know I have this piece of paper and I'm supposed to read it, so I'll read it. But I just have to say, there's those people in the world that I think you connect with and that you really think about, wow, I'd love to talk to you for hours and hours and hours because you're listening to me and you're actually looking at me and actually listening to me as I talk to you. So I'm very excited to have David today talk to you about gratitude. But so I'll read this little piece and then he can actually tell you what it's all about. David George Brooke, that gratitude guy, has been a speaker, teacher, life coach, and best-selling author for over 25 years. He's a former Nordstrom store manager, where was my discount when I needed it. And he's managed in the corporate world for over 30 years. He's published works include the Brooker's Daily Gratitude Journal, Happiness Starts with Gratitude, and a number of other books on gratitude. He recently shared the stage with Bill Gates Sr. at a regional conference and is currently conducting keynotes and workshops for Special Olympics, Children's Hospital, DSHS, and our U.S. military, to name a few. As a result of his passion for gratitude, he has presented over 250 speeches and workshops in the past 3 years. Wow, I'm tired thinking about that. And with over 600 gratitude videos posted on YouTube, thousands have seen his message, and he is now considered a leading authority on gratitude and how living a life of gratitude can enhance and improve your life. He resides in Issaquah, Washington. Please welcome David Brooke.
I didn't get a chance to meet Sam and Heather, but Heather, thank you for those words too. By show of hands, how many people here have suffered a significant personal loss in your life? It's about 80–90%. I'm going to tell you briefly about my significant personal loss. First, I'll mention I'm fortunate enough to speak to high schools where the average age is about 17 to 18. And then I go to nursing homes where the average age is 90 to 95. High schools, half the people, half the kids raise their hands. Surprising to me. The nursing homes, you can imagine, it's almost every single person. September 29th, 1998 was a Tuesday. I woke up about 6:30 and I looked in the bed next to me and my wife Dana wasn't there. That's funny, I wonder where Dana is. Connor, my 4-year-old, comes running in. Where's mommy? I don't know. Kyle, my 14-year-old, same question. We don't know. We walk down the hallway. We look in a couple of rooms. We can't see her anywhere. We finally go down to the end of the hallway. We look downstairs in the laundry room in front of the washer and dryer. Here's Dana. She's all crumpled over and it doesn't look good. And we go running down there. I turn her over. There's all this stuff coming out of her mouth. Connor starts crying. I said, Kyle, go call the police, call fire, call medics, call whoever you can. In the matter of about 2 or 3 minutes, it seemed like we must have had 25, 30 people in our house. They had those wires and those paddles and bags and fluid and all this kind of thing. Connor couldn't stop crying. Kyle's inconsolable. They're working on her. And for those of you that have ever been through something like this, and there's always many, I love doing these talks. I'm fortunate enough to do them several times a week. But I always enjoy hearing some of the stories that people will tell me over at one of the tables or one of the workshops later about what they went through. But one of the things that will happen is your time frame gets all messed up. You lose all track and time has no measure. This little fire person comes over to me and she says, Mr. Brooke, we've been working on Dana for an hour and a half. We still don't have a heartbeat. Would you like us to continue? And even though this little CPU up here is in shock, it still manages to compute a little bit. And I went 90 minutes, no heartbeat. And I said, no, you can stop. And she was dead. She was 38 years old. Connor was 4, as I mentioned, Kyle was 14. What made it such a challenge for me is that was not the first significant loss I had suffered in my life. My father chose to end his life with a shotgun when I was younger. My mother died of cancer. 2 of my best buddies died the night we graduated from Queen Anne High School. More guys in Vietnam, more friends, more people, more relatives. And at some point, I said, I am going to have to figure out how to cope with life. When I go into those high schools, I go like this. I say, listen, you guys and gals, this is life. This is no fun. This is a lot of fun. This is where the lessons are learned. And then here's where you want to be again. But here's where you're going to really find out what you're made out of. So as I thought about it, I walked up the deck about 2 or 3 days after Dana died. And I was still kind of in shock. And I pinched myself. Thought, I don't think I can do this. We live by Green Lake, right near Blanchette. Just 1 mile to the Aurora Bridge. All I have to do is walk over there, step off, and I'm out of pain. So I thought about it for a few minutes. And then I made a decision not to do that. I'm not going to kill myself. They've already lost their mother. Oh, now their dad's going to jump off the Aurora Bridge. But I'm going to need something to help me along the way. And so one of the very first things I realized, it all depends on how you look at something. I'd like you to all stand up if you would. What I'd like you to do, I'd like you to raise your right arm and start turning in a clockwise manner. Now there's no clock here, so you can imagine in the high schools, they're all confused. So I have to go like this. What is clockwise? So just get going clockwise and keep it stretched out. Now keep it going clockwise. Now just start bringing it slowly down. Slowly down. Keep it going clockwise. Get it to your eyes, your nose, your chin, your chest, and now your waist. Now what direction is it going? Counterclockwise. Heather, you can sit down. See, I knew when you said those nice things about me, I knew you'd get that. And see, there's always a few people, I don't like to point them out, and it just makes me feel, there's a couple ladies back here going, what just happened? It's just my way of saying it depends on how you look at something. I could go out, and there's no glasses here, a few, glass half full or half empty, but it just depends on how you look at something. It's your choice. Happiness is a choice. Gratitude is a choice. Your life choices about work, personal, professional, whatever, all choices. When I managed those Nordstrom stores, all these employees would come and talk to me, and they start a sentence with, Mr. Brook, you don't understand. And by the time I got to the word understand, the conversation was over, because I knew an excuse was coming. But it depends on how you look at something. So if you decide that you get a choice, you can make that choice to go up or down. But I contend you need tools in the toolkit. So one of the things I found is embracing gratitude. Heather mentioned it. Rob, I think, mentioned it as well in the bio. Because I was going to have to find something, some sort of tool that was going to help me. And by the way, it's funny, even people you've known forever, my fraternity brothers, there's like 4 or 5 of us, we get together once a month, and one of them says to me about a month ago, you know, I saw your little presentation. Frankly, I wasn't that impressed. And then he goes, so how does this work? Well, if you're so unimpressed, why'd you have to ask me such a simple question like that, Gary? So, do you want to say his name? But embracing gratitude is a choice. I'm going to talk about 5 things today. Embracing gratitude. It takes as long as it takes. Never give up. Choose gratitude and never, ever, ever give up. Get a gratitude journal and share gratitude. I'm going to toss in one more for good measure later. But when you embrace gratitude, it tells you to focus on what you have versus what you don't have. You look in that video, you see some of the choices. We didn't know we were pregnant. She was young. These things happen. Well, now you got the choice. Are you going to raise the baby, or are you going to do something else, or so forth? We're always faced with choices all the time. So embracing gratitude is something that just basically completely transformed and changed my life. So in the center of the table, you see some 3x5 cards. Grab a card. And there should be enough, and you're going to need a partner for this. You all have pens, so you need to partner up. There's no 3-way partnerships. It's got to be 2 people, so somebody may have to move tables possibly. And that little card right there, it says the broker at the top and so forth. So get your pen and paper and get your partner. Does everybody have a partner?
Oh, there you go. Oh, man.
Okay, here's what I'd like you to do.
I was looking around and it's
The upper left-hand corner, I want you to write these 4 words. I see you as. I see you as. Those 4 words, upper left-hand corner of that 3x5 card. For those of you that are speedy, the upper right-hand corner, write your partner's name. And lastly, lower right-hand corner, sign your name. Sign it, print it, write it, what have you. Now, whether this partner, whether you've never met them before or not, or it's your best friend, makes no difference. I love, love, love this exercise. I'm going to give you 60 seconds on the little timer here, and I want you to write how you see that person. Adjectives. I see you as happy. I see you as energetic. I see you as whatever. 60 seconds, as many things as you can, go. About 20 seconds. Okay, and stop. Okay, this table is concerning me. It says reserved. They're writing on the red paper, which is a later exercise. But still, listen to the nice things Heather said about me, though. Don't discount that, because those are very nice. That's what scares me. And okay, Heather, we're going to learn about gratitude and picking the right color of paper. Anyway, so now, sorry, Heather's giving me the... Another 60 seconds. I want you to take 30 seconds each and read to each other what you wrote about each other. Go. Okay, and stop. Thank you very much. Now, take the card, give it to the person so you have the card that was written about you. And I want you to just very briefly look at the card or the red piece of paper as an example and see with the visual way of learning what that person just told you in your ear and just read through those few things they said about you, hopefully a lot of things. By the way, there's one or two people in the audience that are looking at me like this and I go, you got nothing on the other friend you're with, and they're just like, everybody else is writing, they're just looking at me, and I'm like, wow, I'm not your partner, the guy's a dud, she's probably writing about me. So when you look at that card, you reread it, and I can see some down here, there's some that have 6 or 7 things, and some that have 20 or 30. When you look at that card, and you read what that person wrote about you, I have a question. By show of hands, how many people here might hold on to that card? It's been fantastic speaking to you today. Thank you so much for coming. I did a group last week and like a third of the people raised their hand. I almost walked out. What is wrong with you people? That is a 2-minute example of what embracing gratitude will do for you. I stand before you as anybody else who's struggled in life and say to myself, what is it about the fact we'll say things to ourselves we'll never say to a friend? Somebody can write me a check, I am dead serious, for $1 million, and I wouldn't go up to Rob and say, you're such a loser. That is a word I've taken on my vocabulary for years. A-D-V-I-C-E is another one. There's so many words. Y-O-U-S-H-O-U-L-D. Another one. You'd be surprised how many times you hear that. Oh, you're not a speaker? Great, why don't you figure that out for yourself? But the point is, that's what embracing gratitude will do. And it does come down to a choice. John Lennon was in 4th grade. Not a lot of people know this. When he was in 4th grade, they're going around the room, and the teacher says, "John, what do you want to be when you grow up?" John goes, "Happy." The teacher looks at John Lennon and goes, "You don't understand the assignment." John Lennon looks back at the teacher and goes, "You don't understand life." He was only about 8 or 9. I thought it was so cool. But the thing is that it gives a choice: abundance versus scarcity, happiness versus sadness, attitude, a positive attitude versus negative attitude. They're all choices. My father elected to commit suicide. Most negative person I ever met. I'm going to be one of the more positive people you ever met. But it is a choice. Embracing gratitude. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Number 2, it takes as long as it takes. Don't ever give up. Connor was 4 years old when Dana died. Completely messed him up. I took him in for the IED, Individual Education Program, and so on and so forth. Held him back in 1st grade. He would constantly cry. He couldn't do anything. The gal says to me, "Your son's a mess." That's why you know his mom died 6 months ago. But Connor just would not give up. He would not give up. Kyle did seem to do better at 14, but Connor, as I mentioned, was 4 when Dana passed away. But he wanted to play baseball. He was, of course, going to school, flunking. It was terrible. I did everything I could, tutors, you name it. I was parenting them both by myself, of course, because Dana was gone. She had died of a prescription pill overdose. We lost our house, our business, our money, everything. We had to go live with a friend. It wasn't a pleasant situation. But when you decide not to give up, there's only one way, and that's to go forward. And how you do that, in my opinion, one of the best tools is gratitude. So Connor's playing t-ball. The tee, just the ball's on the tee. And he's swinging up here. I mean, look, what are you doing? And he's swinging up. Oh, Connor, the ball's here. So finally, he's looking up at Dad. What do you mean? I said, "It's down here." He finally hits it way down here. Hits the tee itself. The ball dribbles forward. He goes, "Dad, I got to hit." I don't think that's quite the game, Connor, but I wanted to encourage him. So he kept going and going and going, as Kyle and I did as well. Kept persevering. Tracy was talking about the perseverance poem or statement from Calvin Coolidge, which is so cool. I saw it earlier today on my laptop. You don't ever want to give up. Well, I didn't ever want to give up. Neither did Kyle. Neither did Connor, through the worst of circumstances. Death, destruction, money, houses, business, everything was gone. But he kept trying. Finally, we get to May 31st, 2005. He's about 11 years old. He's never played baseball. He's always in the dugout. So their team is out there. I'm at every game, because I'm a good dad. Guy in 2nd, 3rd, bottom of the 7th, the 7 to 8, or 7 to 6, excuse me. There's no players left. So the guy goes like this, "Brooke, are you down there?" So Connor comes out and he's swinging a bat like he's Babe Ruth. I don't even think he could bunt. He gets up to the plate, ball 1, ball 2, strike 1, strike 2. Full count. The next pitch, he rips down the 3rd base line, goes right inside the bag into left field. The guy from 3rd comes into home. The guy from 2nd rounds 3rd. Here comes the guy, the ball, the catcher. They all come together at the home plate. The guy catches it. They crash. The ball pops out, and they win the game 8-7. He's standing way out there in 2nd base. "Dad, I got a hit!" I used to, for a long time, could not tell that story without getting completely choked up. We came home that night. I sat down in the bed next to him and I said, "You know what, Connor? It was never about baseball. It was the point that you never gave up. You cannot give up on anything. I see people give up left and right." I was debating whether I was going to say this today, but I managed the Lowe's. You heard Rob talk about my bio. I managed Nordstrom stores and then later Lowe's stores. Last time I was in this room, I don't know if I really want to tell this, but last time I was in this room, I was a store manager for Lowe's. And I decided it was time for me to realize my dream of being a speaker. And I was sitting right about where the gal was in the bright blue t-shirt. And sitting next to me was one of the other district managers. And he was a super, super neat guy. I didn't care for my district manager at all. It was in this very room right there. And this is probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I just love this guy. And I found out yesterday he took his own life yesterday. And I was putting some finishing touches on my deal. I was trying to change up different talks. But I went, wow, you're going back to the Doe Tree, right where Jim was, right there. And it just drove home this thing. We all struggle. Whether we're helping young people, young, little people, whatever we're doing, helping ourselves, we realize the most important relationship you'll ever have in your entire life is the one you have with you. And when I tell people, I go into more detail as I will in the workshop about, it has to do with giving you the tools to be able to have a great relationship with yourself. And the rest of your life will work so much better. So on December 12th, 2011, I was working at Lowe's, and I thought, you've been talking about being a speaker for 40 some odd years. When are you going to do it? Dana died, my mom died, my dad died, all these things happened to me. Are you ever going to do this? Are you ever going to realize this dream? I just wanted to be a motivational speaker. I didn't know it was going to be gratitude until I found out how it changed me. So I come home about 2 in the afternoon, and Connor is now 17. He's sitting on the couch. He goes, "What are you doing home?" I said, "I quit Lowe's." "You quit Lowe's?" "Yeah, I'm going to be a speaker." "You're going to be a speaker." And he looks up at me, he's sitting down, and he goes, "Well, that's just super, Dad." "I have a question." "What's that, Con?" "What are we going to do for food?" I said, "Connor, trust me, it'll work. You have to stick with it. You have to absolutely stick with it." Now, sometimes he's at my talks, and he'll sit over in the side, and he'll say, "Do you want to meet Connor?" And then he stands up, and they sometimes give him a standing ovation. Now he thinks it's a great idea. It's Connor. And as a matter of fact, after he struggled, he was having such a hard time in sports and in school, I held him back. He had all this special education. He graduated at Bothell a couple years ago. It's a small picture. But 6'2", leadoff hitter on the baseball team, and a 3.6 grade point average. I'm going to send him that clip of the video right there, because now he's down in San Diego State in San Diego. So after you get the program of embracing gratitude and understanding it takes as long as it takes, I am 65 years old. I will be 66 in January. Mary Kay Ash started Mary Kay at like 58, Ray Kroc 55, Colonel Sanders 63. Just goes on and on and on. It doesn't matter how old you are. Some people are starting out early. You take care of a lot of people that are birth to 3, etc. But everybody has their own journey. Each individual journey. Run your race. Don't worry about anybody else's. And I had to remember that myself. But you've got to get rid of the junk that's in your life. When I do workshops, and I'm going to do this red paper, this table, unfortunately, was out of red paper. But they're going, enough, okay, Mr. Speaker? Enough. But I tell people, they go, "But Mr. Brooke, David, you don't understand, I have this, this, and that." People will drive over junk in their life, they'll pick it up from behind them, put it in front, and drive over it again. What are you doing? They go, "Well, you don't understand, I have a knucklehead for an ex-husband." "Where'd you get divorced?" 1997. Don't you think it's time to move on? So the key to this is that there's so many things I ask people to consider. How fast can you change? How fast can you get rid of crap in your brain? How fast can you let there be space in your garage of your brain, if you will, for gratitude? I contend you can change in an instant. People tell me 28 days for a change, 30 days, 6 weeks to develop a new habit. There's all these different philosophies on this. I think you can change in an instant. I'm Mr. Hotshot Suit Manager at Nordstrom before I'm a store manager. And I'm in the lunchroom one day, and this young kid comes up to me. He goes, "You're the suit manager, aren't you? Dave Brooks." Brooke, but he says, "Dave Brookie?" That's close enough. He goes, "Can I tell you what the word is around you, around the store here on you?" "No, what time goes? Everybody thinks you think you're hot stuff." And I was so impressed that this person would talk to me, because I'm Mr. Suit, Mr. Starch, and he's the maintenance guy, and I shook his hand and I said, "Thank you." He said, "Why don't you say hi to people? You walk around with your little briefcase, you're pretty cool." And I was winning all the contests and everything. Got to go to Hawaii, the owner's box, because they owned the Seahawks at the time and so forth. And I thought, you can change in an instant if you want. Every one of you people. One of the things you'll never see with me, if you ever see me again, you'll never see me do a PowerPoint. I don't understand PowerPoint. I like to look at every single person. I got some handouts in the workshops, we got some little cards and things, but I just don't get the whole. I've been to so many speakers to learn how to be a good speaker. Can you just send me the PDF? Because I'm just reading what you're writing, or writing what you're reading. But I like to look at people, and I like to see if we're connecting. And so I thought, you know what? You better clean up your act right now, pal. And when I shook my hand, I walked out of that lunchroom, I went back down to the supermarket, I started saying hi to everybody. I noticed the escalators don't go any faster when you say hi. Hey, Sally, how's Brass Plum? Hey, Bobby, what's going on in men's shoes? And they're looking at me like, wow, the guy talks. The guy's not such a stud after all. He thinks he's so cool. It completely changed. But my point is, there's people that are looking at me like the Amish at Circuit City or something. There's always going to be people, and who is this goof? And my feeling is, it's just another example of how's that working for you. If your deal's working good, that's great. I'm just saying this is something that works. I have a good friend who was my teacher, junior high. And he was, now he's like 80. I still see him once or twice a week, usually jogging or walking or something. But he comes to me one day and says, you know, you're messed up. You need to get a gratitude journal. Now, how many people here have ever heard of a gratitude journal? See, that just blows my mind. More and more people have heard of it. Thank you. It used to be nobody would raise their hand. So I get a gratitude journal. And I said, what do you do with that? He said, well, you start writing in it every day. I said, okay. So I didn't write in it for a while. Then eventually, I got my own. I called it the Brookers. My nickname those fraternity brothers gave me, the Brookers Daily Gratitude Journal. Upper left-hand corner, it says, if you think about it, it's like a dream. If you talk about it, it inspires you. But if you write about it, it empowers you. When you take 5 minutes every single day to write your gratitude journal, it has a transformative effect on you, and it'll completely change you. One of the things that I noticed is that so many people come and they tell me, well, you know, gosh, that works for you, but then they're struggling, and then they have these same fraternity brothers, I love to pick on them. So they call me, I need a dose of the Brooker, because I'm Mr. High Energy. And I've had people go, are you sure you're on a speed? Dana died of prescription medication. I've lost friends to booze. I've never smoked a cigarette or done dope or coke or crack or any of that stuff. I think it's ridiculous. But I also understand that people are trying to cope. And this is a healthy coping mechanism in a world of tremendously high amounts of destructive and deadly coping mechanisms. I asked this doctor one day, I said, why do you think drugs are such a problem? It's the best answer I've ever heard. He said, you know what, Dave? I just don't think people want to feel bad. Can't blame them, but it also will kill you, like it killed Dana. So when you get a gratitude journal, here's what I want to do. I'm not going to have nearly as much time today as I want, but I want you to take that same card, white card, and I want you to flip it over. You guys, what you guys have? Are there any leftover 3x5 cards in any tables? Thank you. Can you just hand this together? Let's get it going. Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is going to be a little gratitude exercise. I have to end right at 2:30, so I want to keep moving along. So turn the card over. And here's what I'd like you to do. In the gratitude journal, by the way, I sell these. I sell a lot of them. I'm now selling the Army. I'm doing a huge talk for 10,000 soldiers a week from tomorrow. I'm very excited about that. 22 soldiers commit suicide every single day in our country. By the time I'm done talking, those soldiers will have taken their life. It's ridiculous. I spent 3.5 years trying to get into Joint Base Lewis before we finally got there. It'll make a difference down there. So normally, again, I'll do this in the workshop later, but one of the things in the gratitude journal is 1 to 10. 10 is the best day of your life, 1 is the worst day of your life. And it doesn't mean that it's just very second, just how you look at yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, relationships, family, whatever that number is. So I want you to just think, now this is, nobody else is involved in this exercise. There's no partners here, this is just you. On the back of that card, upper left-hand corner, I just want you to think, what's your number? This very moment. You're not going to share this with anybody. It can be halves, it can be 7.5, 5.5, 9.5, 8, 9, whatever that number is, put that in the upper left-hand corner and circle it. Whatever you feel you are this very moment. This isn't really scientific, just kind of how you're feeling this right this moment. Okay, now that you've got that number in the upper left-hand corner, I want you to go to the center of the card and I want you to write the number one thing you're grateful for. It can be a name, it can be a person, it can be a sentence, doesn't matter. You're not sharing this with anybody. This is you, yourself, and I. 3 of you. And for those speedy people like Heather, she's going, I'm never sitting here again. Write the second thing you're most grateful for. And then lastly, what was the highlight of your day yesterday? This one might take you to think about it for a second. I'll give you a hint from me. It's generally when Connor calls me from San Diego to say hi, or Kyle calls me. But whatever was the best thing that happened to you yesterday, write that down. Okay, and again, I'll try to keep this moving along here. Somebody said to me recently, you talk really fast. And I videotape all my stuff, and I've always tried to slow down. It's just impossible. I just can't imagine. Hi, I'm the gratitude guy. And tell you about some ways to change your life. Just wouldn't work. So now I want you to reread that again. You're not sharing this with anybody. What's the number one thing you're grateful for, the number two thing you're grateful for, and the highlight of your day, yesterday or this morning, whatever it might be. And I want you to see if your mind shifts at all when you think about what you're grateful for, those top two things, and that highlight yesterday, and see what your number is. Whatever that number is, put that in the upper right-hand corner and circle. It may or may not change. It's okay. Reread the two things you were grateful for, the highlight of your day, and see if your number is different or whatever that number is now after reading those three things. And that number could be the same, could be different. Put that number in the upper right-hand corner and circle. Okay, so from the upper left-hand corner to the upper right-hand corner, did anybody's number go down? Actually happened the other day. I couldn't believe it. I just wanted to walk off the stage. Here's your money back. How many people's number stayed the same from left to right? Pretty good. And how many's number went up? Once again, it's been phenomenal talking to you today. You guys are just the best. Remember it was Carson, or it was one of those guys. I'm old enough to remember Johnny Carson, sorry. Clearly the oldest guy in the room here. And, so a terrible audience last night. But it's really kind of true. Sometimes there's people, I go, what is with you people? Gosh, don't you understand this? So whatever. It's usually about 2/3 to 3/4 of things. So that is the difference. Now, I will tell you one of the things I got from my mother. She was manic depressive, bipolar. And I got it from her. Something I very rarely ever talk about. She would call me. I was at the University of Washington. I was in Queen Anne High School through those years. And she would put these pills up to the phone, and she would shake these pills and go, you either come over and see me right now, or I will eat this entire bottle of pills. I have an older brother, another younger brother, younger sister. Those that know me aren't surprised, know that I'm kind of the leader of the family, an outgoing guy. I felt the pressure. I'd leave the University of Washington, I'd leave the bookstore where I was working at UW, go home and see my mother. It used to just drive me crazy. Ultimately, she got lithium and it straightened her out, and then she dies of cancer a year later. So it was tough, but I got that from her. Well, I'll be doggone if I'm going to take a pill. Dana died of Vicodin and Oxycontin. I understand those are painkillers. There's antidepressants. And again, I'm so blessed. People come up and tell me these stories. I'm glad you told me that. It's hard for me to talk about. These people go, you suffered from depression and bipolar? And I said, well, I got it from my mom. So I'm not going to do that, so I have to take a different approach to it. Run every morning, drink water, eat my vitamins, eat healthy, try to keep the weight off, stay in touch with friends, speak to people. You want to help somebody, by the way? Help somebody else. Fastest way you can do it. I speak to a lot of Rotaries. Service above self is their motto. Couldn't have said it better. I go to Burlington Chamber of Commerce one day on a 2. I am so depressed I can't even think straight. And I kind of hate to do it, but I look, thanks, Mom. So I go write my gratitude journal. I take my little journal, I go to Starbucks, and I write in it. And here's mine. I just started a new one these last about 3 or 4 months, and people will come up after, just kind of look at, is this your journal? They look at it, and I go, sure. They look at it, wow. You write in this every day? Or you like listening to the talk? And you're like, yeah, I feel better. Do you brush your teeth every day? It just seemed natural to me. It's made such a huge difference. That bumps me up about 4 or 5. So I do this chamber. It's a pretty good sized group, maybe 150, 200 people. Afterwards, I come up and I'm selling books and talk to people. This gal comes and she's bawling. Tears, this happens all the time now, and it's just thrilling. She just comes and says, can I give you a hug? And I go, well, I'm single, I'll always take a hug. But she gives me a big hug and she says, my name is Janice, you just changed my life. And for anybody that's ever been down that road, I'm sure there's many in this room, especially considering some of the work you find folks do, It's life-changing when somebody says that to you, when you realize you're putting yourself above everybody else, above yourself, and if you want to help yourself, help other people. So she gives me a hug, and my son's addicted to this, and I need to buy a journal and some other things. I go out to the car, I'm done, I'm kind of packing up, and I realize now I'm a 9. I look in the rearview mirror and I just go, I'm so freaking proud of you. You know, and people laugh sometimes when you say that, but if you don't get that relationship with yourself, you're gonna have a hard time. And I've been just wrapping up, working at Lowe's, and I thought, see, I can change a life, or I can go, where are the 2x4s? They're right down past the hammers on the left-hand side. You know, what's more important in life? So, it really, I just subscribed to this because I went from a 2 by writing the gratitude journal, a 4 to a 5, changing the life, to a 9 or 9.5. I just drove home from Burlington with the biggest smile on my face, and I really realized I found my passion. A couple more things I'm going to wrap up. Find yourself, find your passion, find your purpose. I contend that everybody in this world wants to find their purpose, whether they know it or not. But when you get that relationship with yourself in the mirror, I'll give you a good example. I don't understand how and why we let people dictate how we feel about ourselves. Here's a $20 bill. The guy in the front of it is Andrew Jackson. Okay, how many people, if I just walked out to Rob or Heather, whoever we got here, would want this $20 bill? How many would want it? And all the people don't raise their hand. I always go, okay, whatever. It's not a fake one. I know, I just don't want to raise my hand, speaker. So if I take it and I go like this, now how many people want it? Same thing. If I do like this, and crush it, pick it up, smooth it out, how many want it now? Same. Thank you for being a great crowd. Much better than last night's audience. And lastly, if I look at Andrew Jackson and I go, you're a piece of crap, you're worthless, I don't even know why you're on this earth, frankly. You know what Andrew Jackson does? He looks back at me and he goes, I don't care what you think, I'm still worth 20 bucks. So my question to you is, why do you let somebody crush you, step on you, or tell you you're worthless, and all of a sudden you're worth 15 bucks or 10 bucks or 5 bucks or worse yet, 0, but Andrew Jackson doesn't seem to have a problem knowing he's worth 20 bucks. I don't understand how we let other people rent space in our brain. And one of the best ways for you to handle that and combat that is to embrace gratitude. Because when you have a great relationship with yourself, everything in your life works better. This has got to be stressful work. I love that video. There's different things. We all have stress. We all have problems. I think one of the most significant challenges in life is to have better quality problems. You hear people, do we have money for food or rent? That's a problem. Somebody else goes, should we buy the Ferrari or the Lamborghini? That's a better problem. I think that's one of the goals. So when you find yourself and you get connected with that person in the mirror, and then you figure out what your passion is. I finally figured out what my passion is. It took me 42 years. That's why I'm so adamant about age. It doesn't matter what your age is. Every single journey, as I said earlier, is your journey. It's running your race. It's so important. And then I think you'll find your purpose. Last thing I want to talk about is sharing gratitude. Now, this is one of my favorite things to ask. I've been watching every single set of eyes pretty much in this room here. How many people, since I've been talking, have been on their smartphones? See one honest person. I already saw Heather. And 3, 4, 5. Thank you for being honest. So we have about 6 or 7 honest people. And of course, people will come up. I was taking notes. Don't be nothing. I had the notepad out here. Don't think you're calling me out in front of all my peers. So everybody get your smartphones out. Here's what I'd like you to do. If you don't have a smartphone, that's fine. Get your smartphone. I'm assuming most people have them. This is called sharing gratitude. Once you understand embracing gratitude and you get it for yourself, once you understand it takes as long as it takes, no matter how old or young you are, you can't ever, 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 ever give up. Winston Churchill, make room for gratitude, clean out your brain, get rid of the junk, get a gratitude journal, spend 5 minutes a day reminding and reinforcing what that card just did for you, understanding yourself, figuring out your passion, and then ultimately figuring out your purpose. Last thing is you want to share it. It's called the 4 T's. Here's what I'd like you to do. Text, tweet, telephone, or tell somebody in your life how grateful you are to have them in your life. 60 seconds, go. Whichever of those modes you want. Most people text, but go ahead. 30 seconds left. Okay, and stop. And of course, you can do other texts, or I was like, I didn't know I get a phone call. I go to the high schools, 60 seconds, 50 texts. Already done. It's just unbelievable. I come up, what's the 60 seconds? I already talked to half the whole entire senior class. It's just like unbelievably amazing. By the way, I'm going to wrap up in about 2 minutes. On your table are my cards, and they have a little QR code on them. So take a business card if you would. That takes you right to the website. If you want to get my videos, you can sign up there. I send out a 2-minute gratitude video, free of charge, every single Monday. Another little inspirational thing. You can buy journals there and everything. So those are on the table. So I want to tell you about this sharing gratitude. Most everybody texts their little thing. But I was in a Bothell High School, and I see a gal over here, this young lady, and I can hear her talking. And it's only about 10 or 15 feet away. Most people are texting. And she goes, I can hear like, yes, honey, I want to let you know I'm so grateful for you. I'm assuming it's your husband. I so appreciate you. You're just the best. I just want to tell you that I don't know, some speaker just told me to call you and tell you. You're missing the point. And then people will come over wherever I am afterwards. Can I show you this? And they'll show me all these different things. And one shows it goes, look at this one. I'm grateful for you too. What do you want? And then another one, a couple of weeks more recent was, she shows me, are you sure you sent this to the right person? I don't think we do it enough. When I was younger, I didn't do all those drugs and things, as I said. But I was a daredevil. I didn't particularly like heights, but I learned how to fly and jumped out of airplanes and bungee jumped and all this crazy stuff just because I was afraid of heights and I wanted to overcome it. So I make an appointment, guess with who? The fraternity brothers. There's 10 of them. Issaquah skydiving years ago. And then I make it for Saturday. On Monday, 2 of them cancel. And on Wednesday, I get a phone call. Hey, Dave. I think I have a sore throat. Another one cancels on Thursday. I think there's still a few left. I walk up there Saturday at 10 o'clock. I proudly walk up to the counter. Hi, Brooke. Party at 10? He looks at me and he goes, where are your friends? I see no friends. I said, I have no friends. Nobody showed up. I went by myself. You guys are the best. So I get to do churches once in a while, and in churches, I don't do a PowerPoint, but I will put a slide up. I've got different slides of Connor and Kyle and Dana and different things, but I show one of me skydiving, and I'm like all scared and everything. But I'm like all by myself. But the point of this story is, nobody got to share that with me. I did it all by myself. Back to you if you want to help yourself, help other people. I highly, 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 highly recommend embracing gratitude. I will tell you, it can change your life, it can transform your life. And I think in many cases that reminds me, I need to do a book, is I don't know what you like me. And I think she was, I will never sit here again. But there's so many tools available to all of us if we just use them. Embracing gratitude, understanding that, getting a gratitude journal, helping other people. All these tools can help you. And I mentioned Jim McLaughlin from yesterday, and I sat down there, and all these soldiers I get to speak to and so on. You can't save everybody, but embracing gratitude can change and transform. I feel it can save your life. I feel it saved mine, and it can save yours too. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, David. Give him one more round of applause. Thank you so much. So we're all ready to move you. However, we now have a special guest that actually did make it through the, did you say 62 car accidents on the way? Oh, 3, sorry. Missed that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ross Hunter, the new director of Department of Early Learning. Awesome.
I'll start out with having gratitude that there were only 3 accidents. And normally when you do this as a legislator, you can stand here and you can say, and somebody ought to do something about that Fort Lewis thing. And you say, yeah, it's me. But it's not me anymore. I sent my letter in to the governor yesterday, and I am now completely switched over to being director of the Department of Early Learning. And I get to work with all of you people all of the time. It's going to be really fun. So they gave me 2 minutes, and the reason they gave me 2 minutes is because everyone who set this up knows what I do and knows that I'll just fill whatever time there is available, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and be really brief to 2 minutes, which is 120 seconds. So I'm here just to thank you for what you guys do. You support at-risk kids and families. And we need to have the next one of these in a bigger room because we have about 3 times as many families that we like to serve than we can currently